Hello, fellow peasants. Today I'll be discussing who is the real star of 1973's The Exorcist. Okay, guys, so who is the real star of 1973's The Exorcist? Well, if you can tell by the screenshot or the thumbnail I put up, it is Father Damien Karras. Yes, that's right. I do not think Linda Blair is the focal point of the story. Is her possession a catalyst for what happens in the film? Yes. But her becoming possessed is just the means to get Father Karras to renew his faith, to, have him question, maybe there is something more, because at the time that Reagan's possessed, Father Damien Karras in the film he's lost his faith. He's tinkering on the edge of not believing anymore. And through Reagan's possession, he finds his faith again. And so the story really is about, in my opinion, Father Damien Karras dealing with the death of his mother, her sickness, him not being able to afford to put her in a proper home while she's older, like a housing care place, and dealing with his crisis of faith. He's a psychologist who works for the church. He's also a priest. And so he sees and deals with a lot of people that have a lot of issues. He sees a lot of pain and suffering in the world. And it's hard for him to maintain his belief when he's constantly bombarded with all the bad things that are happening to people who come to him about things. So I will say I thoroughly enjoy far more watching when Father Karras is on screen than when Reagan is on screen. Now, I understand, and Reagan's possession is very critical and very vital to the story of The Exorcist. I'm not trying to say that it's not. I'm just saying, to me, and there's been a couple smart asses in the comment section that have been like, well, I think The Exorcist is about the exorcist. Well, no fucking shit. What I'm saying is the people, when they think of The Exorcist, they think of Linda Blair puking, head spinning, saying, shove it up your ass, all this other stuff that Linda Blair said in the film, all the demonic, crazy antics, you know what I mean? The furniture flying around, the spider walk, crawl, all of that is what a lot of people think of when they think of The Exorcist. A lot of people don't really think of The Exorcist, other than people who watch this channel and watch other horror channels. The general consensus of viewers is little girl possessed, puking and cussing a lot. That is what people think of The Exorcist a lot of times. What I'm saying is the film really is about this priest who is struggling to take care of his elderly mother and trying to figure out where he belongs in terms of the church, because he's losing his faith and he's just having a rough time. And he goes from not really believing when you meet him, or he's massively struggling anyway to believe, to believing at the end and sacrificing himself to save Reagan by taking the demon into himself and then committing suicide at the end by jumping out the window. What an arc. What a freaking arc. You know what I mean? We don't get to know Reagan, really. I mean, we get a scene at the beginning where she's talking about that she wants a horse. We get the scene with the Ouija board. And we know that she likes to make clay figures and things like that, but we don't really get to see a whole lot of actual Reagan before she's possessed. I mean, she starts acting weird pretty early on into the film, and even and even before she's possessed, you don't see a lot of her in the film at all. Like, the story really does just focus around, like, Father Karras, Chris McNeil's, film career. Like, Reagan's, as a normal human being before she's possessed, is not really in the film. We don't get to know her as a person. And she doesn't really have much of an arc at all, other than she got possessed, which was not by her choice, and then she got unpossessed because Father Karras took it out of her. There's not really an arc there. There was no character growth, character development for her, like there was in Father Karras. And taking Father Karras out of the picture, in a way, I also want to discuss that the film is just so much stronger in other aspects, like in other scenes, when you're not seeing the possession, when you're not seeing Reagan, when people are just talking about the possession, just talking about Reagan being possessed. Everything that surrounds the possession is far more interesting, in my opinion. Yes, do I think the exorcism scene is entertaining? I think so, but it's my least favorite part of the film. Honestly, I like parts of it, but I think it's just a little over the top in some places, and I just think I know it had to be done. The exorcism scene there has to be an exorcism in The Exorcist. I'm not going to be stupid enough to say that, but what I'm saying is, the more I watch the film and the older I get, the more I appreciate all the scenes and dialogue that just reference or talk about Reagan or what's going on or Burke's murder, or, you know what I mean? I don't need to see it. I don't need to hear it a whole lot. And the film does a great job for the most part. Like the film does a great job of drip feeding you the creepiness. They don't show too much. But what I'm saying is I like the scenes where I'm not seeing anything more than when I do see something. But yeah, Father Karras is the real star to me. Everything else and the dialogue that surrounds the possession is far more interesting to me than watching Linda Blair flop up and down or whatever. And I mean, that's all cool. That's fine. You have to see that to understand what's going on. I'm not saying I don't want to see the creepy possession stuff. I'm just saying sometimes it's a little creepier when they're just talking about it, or it's just referenced, or like for example, we didn't see Burke's head. The movie did a great job at this. We didn't see Burke's death. We didn't see Burke's head turned all the way around. We just get two guys, Kinderman and Father Karras, talking as they're taking a walk past these tennis courts on Georgetown campus, talking about Burke's death. And then their discussion has you imagine his death, and his head turned all the way around without having to show it to you. That's what I'm getting at here, is like, that scene is great, and it sums up the whole point of this video, really, other than I like Father Karras, and I think he's the main star of the movie. But the other point of this video is to say, there's so much more that's interesting in The Exorcist other than what you're blatantly shown and what is explicit and controversial and considered scary. So that's it, guys. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree that Father Karras is the true star of 1973's The Exorcist. I know a lot of Linda Blair lovers are going to hate on this, but I'm not saying she's not important. I'm not saying she's not even 50% of what's going on here. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that Father Karras really is the heart of the story of this film. Okay? And no shit, it's called The Exorcist. I know that. Fuckers. All right, have a good one, peasants. Peace out. Bye-bye.